Race 1 at the Nurburgring is about to get underway. 27 cars wait on the right-hand side. Your picture, Polman, Esteban Guerrieri. On the left-hand side, Norbert Mikelic. The front row men, the back row men are all ready, and away we go for 3 laps at the Nordschleife. Nesta Girolami immediately moves to cover off Fredrik Vervisch, and Mikelic with a great run down the inside. Fantastic start for the Hyundai driver. Around the outside goes the grey Audi of Fredrik Vervisch, but it is Guerrieri second, Girolami third, Vervisch fourth. Trouble for Ivan Muller. Damage at the front. He got hit on the left-hand side, and as he meandered off wide, Antiburi, the wild card, got shuffled right down the order. Qualified 13th. Broken steering or suspension, or both, for Ivan Muller. He is out, and we have 10 minutes to clear that car away before the leaders get back at the end of lap 1. Matt Neal, fantastic start from Norbert Mikelic from, quote, the wrong side of the road, certainly not on the racing line.
Yeah, great move from Mikelic. He really got hooked up. He was huffy going. He was really aggressive into turn 1 and into turn 2, muscling his way through. I don't know whether it was him who caught the side of Muller's car, so
no.
We might get it on a replay.
Not sure. Gabriele Tarquini, the second Hyundai, then one of the Golfs. That's Huff, and that was around the outside of Air Lachey down at the Shell Oils hairpin.
Through on Girolami.
Oh, has he got up to third? Yes, he has. Good spot. Now that might have been down at the hairpin at the bottom of the Grand Prix circuit. I call it Shell Oils nowadays. Apparently, it's called Dunlop. Heading up the hill through the Michael Schumacher S's, and then up to the final pass of the track. Now, this is normally the Vidal chicane. On the map we've been given this weekend, it's the Vidal chicanery. Shouldn't be too much of that. They go through Ravenol and the Bilstein curve and continue to climb up the hill. And as they get to the top, where you would normally be starting to look to go right around the top of the pit lane on the Grand Prix circuit, they turn left and out into the country, through the Hatton back. And Matt, you go from this wide-open Grand Prix circuit into the 1930s, because this is narrow, twisty, bumpy, jumpy. It could not be more of an immediate contrast.
And the one we haven't mentioned so far, Martin, is Gabriele Tarquini.
Yeah.
10th on the grid, and he's muscled his way up to 5th place. He's really done well. They greased the side of that car before the start.
Another classic Gabriele Tarquini start. There he is, just on his own, the car on its own, looking back from Fredrik Vervisch to Nesta Girolami. It won't be long before Tarquini catches. Don't forget, Tarquini has not ever scored a point here in a race. He's crashed
Nesta
out.
using all the road and a little bit of dirt now. That Honda has got a straight line advantage around here, but if there's one car he's going to struggle against, it should be the Audi. So yeah. Vervisch should be able to hold him off in the straight bits.
Well, Nesta, you know, we're 4 kilometres in. It's going to be another 19, 18 kilometres before he gets a chance to really use any straight line advantage down the Dottinger Höhe.
I reckon the one who's going to be under attack is Norbert Mikelic in the front. You can get both these three ganging up on him.
Yeah.
They can just hold. If he can't make a break and get some air in between them.
Oh, a little lock up there from Benny Loister ahead of Johan Kristoffersen. Look at the 2 yellow Cupras, both battling in front of Tom Coronelli's Mehdi Bonani.
Yeah, the camera angle probably not doing the approach speed of that justice. And down here, approaching down into the foxhole, the car's going into massive compression, bottoming out onto bump stops they'll be putting in.
Now that's a great view. That's what you see when you're coming down the hill and out the other side. You don't see from the heavy.
In the bottom of that foxhole, as a driver, you will be drilled into the bottom of the seat. It's like being on a fairground ride.
Probably is. Lap 1, turn 1 incident under investigation. Now there may be a penalty to apply. I would think that's several cars too many trying to get one racing line. If Armola was just the unfortunate one who ended up with contact from the inside. Of course, history being what it was, that was probably one of 2 people. We know it wasn't Nor because he's out front, so the other culprit was undoubtedly Gabriele. He came through.
Well,
didn't see it happen, but
and Huffy was sort of in the mix, wasn't he? He took a bit of a shortcut through turn 2.
As they head out towards the second part of the track, again you can see the Hondas diving down, but Norby's already gone. Vervisch on the outside. Watch Muller without the yellow stripe. Is that?
No, Muller's on the inside.
So
here, just on the inside of Huffy.
Contact with Huff. There.
Right.
And then between Huff and Tarquini goes the long way around the outside.
It's Huff and Muller.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Push me. That's it, all guys. Shit, that was a short race.
Wow.
I have to just stop again. Do you think you can come back?
Looks
Ivan,
like
do
a
you
front
hear me?
tripod's broken.
Yeah. And you know, these cars are built pretty tough. They're not like the chocolate wishbones of some of the old Super 2000 cars, like the Seat. From behind, you see Huff just made contact with Muller there. And then
But
Muller's car
they were
goes
both
off.
over that inside sausage curve,
Yeah.
Martin. Was it? I mean, if it's that fragile, I wouldn't have said Huff's hit was that was hard enough to do it.
It didn't look that hard.
It
but
did
then,
look a genuine side-to-side contact.
But then the car is turning its wheels, so the wheel is sticking out and it's more exposed.
Yeah.
It takes a bigger hit than a straight-on side-by-side.
But the end result is Muller's out.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
points.
no. And Tarquini somehow drove all the way around the outside of that, which was a fantastic bit of opportunist driving from him. He could have been knocked out of bed by Muller going off. Turns out he wasn't. Looking back from Norman Mikulits. Norby was quite surprised. I was chatting to him this morning, quite surprised to be quite so quick in qualifying. But look at him go now. He's going away like a scalded cat. Esteban Guerrieri in second position, fastest around the Grand Prix loop and fastest in Sector 2. But Norby quicker in Sector 3. He's starting to pull away.
He's certainly pinned his ears back. He is trying to make that gap to give him a bit of safety margin before he gets onto the real long straights.
Yeah. Right, in Sector 4, this is halfway through. This is the legendary Caracciola Carousel. So sweeping up now towards Hoa Axe, the highest point on the track. And look at this. I mean, just look at the way the scenery drops away behind you. If you're a passenger, it's probably better to be looking out the back window than out the front, because, Matt, even when you're driving, it's a pretty wild ride.
Well, you can just see all the fans and everything, man. It's amazing just driving around the outside of the circuits. People are driving around on quads, bikes, with helmets, without helmets, scooters, you name it. It is an absolute carnival atmosphere here.
Tarquini in half the battle for sixth ahead of Yann Lachey. And in fact, where did Ted Björk get to? Only 12th place at the start. Björk was 5th on the grid, wasn't he? So Björk has plunged to 12th. He'll start 19th for both races tomorrow. So this could be a big fat 000 for Ted Björk. At the moment, he's in the top 12. He's got Jean-Carl Vernet there, right behind him. They've just gone through shot. And there's a little gap back to Daniel Hegloff.
I didn't think Ted made that bad a start. I thought he was...
didn't, but he got shuffled out as Ivan speared off to the right. Ted was out there and got held up, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. It was Lachey who was making good progress.
Well,
he held his own. He was in sort of 6th or 7th place, wasn't he? And he's...
Again, look at the battle for 3rd place. You can see the Audi just in front of the Honda.
Oh, he probably is afraid.
Yeah, I don't think he is. Bevic doesn't get scared by much. But Tarquini is closing in behind. And behind him is Rob Huff, dropping back a little in the Golf. Down into the mini carousel, out of Schwalben's front. And the next right-hander is where 2 or 3 cars went off in qualifying. Listen, little lift there with the full tank from Yann Lachey in qualifying. That has to be flat because it brings you out here onto the Dottinger Hoa. You must carry maximum speed on here because this is where most of the overtaking happens. Look behind the top 2. Mikulits is first. He's gone from Guerrieri, but behind, here we go. Vervish versus Girolami. Vervish with the more slippery car, perhaps, but Girolami hoovering up behind him in the
Honda is pretty slippy itself. This is, if anyone's watched Tour de France cycling, this is the peloton coming up behind you. If you've got wing mirrors on the peloton, this is what you're going to be looking at.
Girolami trying to find a way by. He's going to have to do it in Tiergarten. He's going to have to do it under braking. And Vervish is just strong enough to stay in front. So Vervish in 3rd, Girolami in 4th still at the end of lap 1 of 3.
I don't know if you hear me. I have no front grip. It's crazy compared to them. And I have no power underneath. So, but it's mainly the grip that makes the issue. It will be to make it to the end at some point.
Well, listen, the stuff you'll put up with in a race, battling for a podium, is not the stuff that you'll put up with in free practice or qualifying. So Fredrik Vervish is 3rd, and he's damn well not going to let
Fredrik,
Girolami get by.
he was complaining just about everything at that point, wasn't he? But yeah, he's got track position. If you can hang on, you've only got 2 more laps, Fred, so you just got to hang in there, man.
Now, he and Team Gordon Shedden's off. And broken car, because that is bobbling away there. Something has broken, a wheel or a tyre has gone down. He was battling with Thiago Monteiro and Aurelian Panis. Yellow flag in Sector 1, everybody's gone. They won't be back for 10 minutes, so like Ivan Muller's car, that will be long gone.
Shame that Shedden, he'd made good progress starting from 22nd on the grid. He was well up into the teens. So.
Yep. Again, Norbert Michelisz, what a flying start he had. 2 seconds clear at the beginning of the lap, and Matt, that is out of aerodynamic tow range. And at the moment, the I-30 looks like the quickest car around here. 9 minutes 3.6 from the standing start. Let's see what lap 2 brings us.
Do you think they get, I mean, I don't know, because I don't know the German team that run in the N24 round here. Do they get data shared with them? So in other words, extra testing? Yeah, I know that's a great
to
matter.
a degree, there is quite a lot of
friendliness.
There's quite a lot of interplay between the European TCR cars, between the World TCR cars, and also their N24 and VLN program. The problem is that the VLN spec cars have ABS and other TCR cars don't, so it's not quite a parallel. However, from a ooh, and that was contact with Daniel Hegloff, the Swede, and that's left front suspension broken on the Audi, and it also holds up Attila Tashi.
That looks like Flash going down the inside of him now. Did he turn in, or was it Flash running a bit deep?
Well, Niels Langeveld picks up a spot. Mikael Ashkenar on the inside, goes inside Marcin Kwa. So here's Mars' view, or is this Chekon?
That's seeing when it's done.
It's Chekon's view. Ooh. Yeah. Well, the broken suspension, I'm afraid. This is the battle for third again, seeing this from on board.
Will we see Flash come into picture?
No. Rob Huff, though, almost gave Gabriele Tarquini a love tap. Gabriele gets in very deep. I wonder if he did get a tap from behind under braking. Doesn't take much.
So who's Lachey got? He's up into 6th now. So who's he done? Is he
in 6th now? Is he got by Rob? There is a suggestion that either Christopherson or Loister was the car that got into the side of Ivan Muller. That was good starting from them, because Muller started 6th, Huff started 8th, Christopherson 11th, and Loister 9th. It is possible. Lachey and Loister 7th.
No, sorry,
and
it might be. Is he 6th? I'm trying to see. It looks like. Is he 7th?
Yeah, behind Huff, and you can see the German flag on the roof of Loister's Golf behind the pale blue car, or the bright blue car at the top of the picture. Again, as they fly on down through the foxhole.
My historical mistrust of the timing screens has made me watch one too much, I think.
Well, generally, timing screens get updated every sector, whereas positions may change more frequently. So the race you're seeing may not be the race you're seeing. With the Swedish cross, Johan Kristoffersson right behind car number 8. That is Augusto Farfus. So Farfus has got by him because as they came across the line, Kristoffersson was 9th, Farfus was 10th. And that is Daniel Hegloff back in the pits. He has not had a happy weekend so far. Both cars heavily wrecked. Mikael Ashkenar in Q1, and Daniel Hegloff had a big crash. Car just locked up on him at Tiergarten. He went straight off into the barriers. He's pretty sore. Big purple bruises on both his collarbones from the hands device in the crash.
Which means it's done its job.
Yeah, but
it's a good thing.
Yes, but it also means that it's resting on him. Every time there's a bump and a jolt in the car, it's like somebody thumping on your bruises.
Which is a lot better than a broken neck.
It is much better than a broken neck or a broken collarbone. You're absolutely right. Norbert Michelisz is opening the gap up again. Fredrik Verbisch in 3rd has gone quicker in Sector 1 and Sector 2 than he did on lap 1. And looking further back, there is the car of Benny Loister with the German flag on the roof. He's right behind this man, Jan Lachey, as we dive down into the hole and climb out the other side.
Yeah, through Metzgerfeld.
Yeah.
Getting a good exit from there is absolutely, again, the TV doesn't do the justice of how steep this climb is up this hill. You know, maximising every last rev you can get in between the gear changes is absolutely paramount.
As you're piling down the hill, all you see is a wall of grey in front of you. There's no indication how high that wall is. It's a proper Category 1 climb.
You can hear on the gear changes the engine will labour as they're going up here with the gradient. That's a long, long climb all the way up, especially with the long ratios they have to carry to compensate for the main straight.
Yeah, and Benny Loister right up behind Jan Lachey. Here he comes. Tarquini has stopped. His bad luck stories continue at the Nordschleife. Gabriele Tarquini has pulled off. Ivan Muller's out, Gordon Shedden's out, Daniel Hagloff's out, and Gabriele Tarquini is out as well.
Leuchter's showing LHA's there, but LHA's holding his nerve at the moment. He's keeping it tight, not making any mistakes.
He is so like Uncle Ivan, isn't he? So calm behind the wheel, even if they both get quite Gallic in terms of.
He's got a very old head on his young shoulders, hasn't he?
Though. Remember the first time we ever saw him when he was in Marrakesh, and Alex went down to chat to him. Congratulations. He was 10th in qualifying. Said, "You're on pole for race 2." He said, "Yes, but it's not really a pole." That was just exactly the right attitude, and he still has that in spades. He just loves racing. This car, any car, races Trophy Andros ice racing in the winter. He races prototypes, GT cars, and touring cars.
Which is what Ivan used to do. Ivan used to sign one contract with Audi in the summer, which was finished, and then he would sign his contract for the ice racing, and then roll on and roll on and roll on.
Here's the battle for third. Fairvish just ahead of Girolami. And that is the view back from Norbert Mikulich of no one there. Esteban Guerrieri in second place, can barely see Norby around this tight and twisty sector 4. And as Norby drops into and comes out of the Caracciola carousel, he's going to be starting to disappear more and more.
Now, what can be prevalent is, you know, they have made noises about, especially around Nurburgring, tyre degradation.
Yep.
And certain cars are harder on their tyres than other cars. So, you know, we're okay up to about halfway around, 3/4 way around the second lap. The third lap can be a big telltale. Yep. So we can start to see, we will start to see over the next lap whether certain chassis will drop back, or I would imagine with a bit of insider knowledge and long runs they're doing with the German Hyundai team, that they'll have, I would have thought they'd be pretty well prepared. But some of the other cars can be a little bit harder on the tyres.
Yeah. The question is how much they learn from the VLN team, because although the circuit remains the same, ABS and different tyres have a big effect. Frederick Fairvish really starting to struggle now. Behind him is Nesta Girolami, still looking as racy as ever.
Yeah, if Girolami could get through, he'd be away. Then what he's going to be suffering with now is intake temperature.
Yes.
So the Honda, with its integral manifold, it does suffer with water temperature and engine temperature totally. As your engine temperature rises, your horsepower goes down. So he needs fresh air.
He's going early. Vervish is going to try and squeeze him onto the grass. Ooh, but Vervish is losing out badly there. Look at the Honda, gets alongside, and the next corner is a little left-hand king. Vervish right at the very top end. They're still just inches apart. And on the inside, the Honda, look at the rear window, bowing on both cars in the low pressure zone. And here comes Huff, hoovering up a double toe in the Golf. He slipstreams by both of them. Fantastic stuff. He goes up into third, and Girolami stays fourth, but Vervish, oh, look at Girolami's car as they come up to Tiergarten. Almost got away from him there, and Vervish goes down to fifth. Erlacher's right with him. Leustner, the Golf, with the German flag on the roof, but Huffy was just going, come on, boys.
They both got properly mugged by Huffy there.
Yeah. So, Norbert Mikulich has gone from 2.0 to 2.48 ahead. Esteban Guerrieri second, Huff third place from 8th on the grid. A good opening lap and a good second lap toe up the straight. Huff really used the slipstreaming, and you know, you need that racer's instinct to see how it's going to develop, and it fell perfectly into his lap, and he was ready to catch it.
He's just catapulted himself off onto the podium here, but he's going to be at their mercy coming onto that straight again at the end of this lap. Yeah,
well, it'll be the Honda that will be his real worry. Mikulich is gone unless he has an issue with the tyres, and the car down into the Dunlop hairpin as they begin lap 3, the final lap here in Germany today. Mikulich, Guerrieri, and then, oh, everybody. Huff is third. The black bonnet is Girolami in fourth. In fifth place, the grey Audi. That is Frederick Vervisch. The blue car is LHA in 6th. Benny Leuchter is 7th in his Golf. Augusto Farfus is right on top of him, number 8 car. Farfus's Lukoil teammate Nicky Katzberg with the red stripes down the side. He's 9th. He's got back ahead. In fact, he too has got ahead of Johan Kristoffersson. So both of those Lukoil Hyundais have got in front of the number 14 Golf of
I think that was Tom
Kristoffersson.
Coronel getting a bit out of shape, just dropping a wheel into the gravel there.
Kristoffersson was properly impressive yesterday in the damp conditions in qualifying, given that he's only raced here once back in 2011, which seems quite recent, but was 8 years ago, and that was in a Porsche Carrera Cup race that had 75 Porsche starting. So a very different kettle of fish from a front-wheel drive touring car. It was raining cats and dogs then, but his ability to feel the grip in rallycross, clearly which won him 2 global titles, didn't let him down here. Take a look at this slipstream again. Look how far back Huff is as we get onto Dottinger Höhe.
Yeah, Girolami had no alternative. He had to go for it then, and he had to. He had to go, but then they get into equal air, and the Audi's slippier than the Honda. Then Huffy just picks up the
gets a double toe.
Slipstream. How good is that? Because the Golf is definitely not the slippiest out of those 3 cars.
Great racing. That's just what you want to see.
That's a good bit of gamesmanship from Huffy there. He worked that well.
Now, the problem is, though, oh, look, immediately Girolami has dropped Vervisch. As you said would happen, he's got Huff in front of him now. But this is a problem for Huff, actually, because unless Huff can break away, Girolami is going to be hoovering along in the slipstream all the way up the straight. And there's not much to choose between the Honda and the Golf in a straight line.
Yeah, Nestor's just going to shadow Huffy and just keep it in slipstream. Fastest sector 2 of the race so far. So he's just nuzzling up nicely to Huff.
Meanwhile, we're on board with Jan Erlaché, and he's... no, we're not. We're further back, aren't we? Because that's Kristoffersson. So we're behind Kristoffersson with Ted Björk. So Ted looking at a top 10 result now. 5th on the grid, dropped down to 12th. Now he's clawed his way back up. OK, Tarquini's gone, but nobody else has gone from in front of him. And the final point will be for Niels Lankeveld at the moment. Spoke to the Dutchman at lunchtime. He was very sanguine about yesterday. He said, OK, you know, stuff happens and it was a wretched day, but just going to try and stay out of trouble and learn today. He's in the points. Gabriele Tarquini has made it back to the pit lane. So not sure what the issue was. Might have been tyre, might have been a rim, might have been anything.
This place just doesn't get on with Gabriele, doesn't it?
No, absolutely.
He just has, I mean, he always drives well and he's in the mix, and it just doesn't happen for him here.
Absolutely. You know, there are things in life that you just never quite get your head around, and maybe this is one of those for him. It's a rare one for him, you've got to say. You know, don't know any other track that is a boogie track for him, or bogey track for him, but this one definitely is. Kristoffersson in front of us as we ride with Ted Björk. Final lap here at the Nordschleife, hunting for a podium. The good news for Gabriele is there is no more racing today. Day's work here for WTCR totals 3 laps. Tomorrow we will have races 2 and 3. Well, Gabriele, unfortunate, because it looked like he was turning his Nordschleife fortune around and was firmly on target for a top 5, top 6 result, but it wasn't to happen.
Yeah, amazing start for him, and he was definitely in the mix, but and Norby's just showing the pace of the car, so they've got a good package in this weekend.
And so too Farfus and Katzberg, who have both overtaken cars to get up the order into 8th and 9th. Norbert Michelisz leading on the final lap here at the Nordschleife, race 1 of 3 for this race weekend. Esteban Guerrieri in 2nd. 3rd place, Rob Huff and Nestor Girolami right with him in 4th. Then a little gap back to this battle. Frederick Vervisch in the Audi in front. He's in 5th, was 3rd at this stage a lap ago. Jan Erlaché in 6th. Absolutely pegged, maximum speed in 6th gear. And this is proper hang-on territory, Matt Neal.
Yeah, he's just shadowing that Lincoln Co. just looking for any possible mistake.
Benny Loister right behind Jan Erlaché. So the blue Lincoln Co car trying to close on Fredrik Vervisch, but the problem is Loister, behind him Farfus, behind him Katzberg. They're all going to benefit from the toe of the Audi, and critically the Lincoln Co car. One or two or maybe three of them might jump ahead.
Erlaché needs to hang on to the back of the Audi, otherwise he's gonna have a problem when they get on the straight with the size of the hole he's going to punch through the air with that Lincoln Co. But
he'll be Billy No Mates, and he'll just get gobbled up.
Well, I was just about to say there's definitely no friends in that whole bunch. It's every man for himself.
Properly is. And actually at the tail of it is Ted Björk, and he'll be looking to pick up places, and if it's at the expense of his teammate, then that's the way the cookie crumbles. Gabriele Tarquini in with steering problems, we hear. Not what you need around a track that needs a lot of steering.
The problem is that the cars here, you know, again, it's hard to see from the TV, but there's a lot of points where the cars are absolutely airborne, and you know, they're maxing out at 260 kilometers, so that's 170 miles an hour, and the cars get a phenomenal battering round here.
Well, it's the takeoffs and the landings and the massive compression as well in some of the places. So, you know, where the little dips are, not the, you know, we've seen a huge dip in the foxhole, but there's so many other compressions where the suspension is on maximum compression and the power steering gets really heavily overloaded.
Well, so, as you said before, down the straight, you can see the bodywork flexing and flapping and banging. If you tried to, you walked up to a car and do it, you wouldn't be able to do it with your hands, pushing down on it, even with your body weight.
The G-forces here are ridiculous. Jan Erlaché behind Fredrik Vervisch. This is the battle for fifth. But look at Benny Loister.
Oh, young Jan, he's pulled Vervisch back in again.
Battle for Huff and Girolami for third. This is the battle with Vervisch, Erlaché.
Yeah, the Audi seems to struggle when he gets into the technical section, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, he said, you know, on the radio, he said, I've got no front end, and that's where he's struggling.
Okay, well, now that we're coming up to the main straight, so Erlaché's positioned himself nicely. He's only got one run to go, and then here's going to be the battle.
Right, this is for third. Huff with the Union flag, the black and white and red car behind him.
Already.
Yeah, here we go. He's in the slipstream. This is easy meat for Girolami, but Huff is making sure that it's not going to be an easy pass. Going to try and make him go the long way around the outside. Girolami almost on the paint. Slipstreams by. The question is now.
He comes up again.
Huff gets the side draft as well. Oh, this is so close. This is so close, and the cars, Matt, are being buffeted by each other in the slipstream. Oh, unbelievable. They're not trying to hit each other, they're trying not to hit each other.
Huffy holds him out round Tiergarten.
But the inside line for Nestor Girolami, he's up into third and behind Langeveld.
Vervisch hangs on.
Vervisch. Erlaché doesn't get by, and nobody gets by Erlaché either. Norby Mikelish is going to win this. Esteban Guerrieri in second. Rob Huff fourth as Nestor Girolami flashes his headlights in third across the line. Breathless stuff at the end of the lap. Vervisch and Erlaché, Loister, Farfus, Katzberg, Christophersen, Ted Björk 11th, Jean-Carl Vernet 12th, and then Coronel Langeveld, Benani the final point scorer ahead of Montero, Panis, Ashkenar, Chacon, Tashi, Marchinquois, Andy Prio a long way back, as is Antti Burri. Don't forget, in Norby's team, his teammate is Gabriele Tarquini and DNF. The Look Oil pair, Farfus and Katzberg 8th and 9th, that team scores well. Erlaché's teammate is Andy Prio, didn't score any points. Ted Björk in 11th, his teammate is Ivan Muller, didn't score any points. These are two-car teams, don't forget. So again, the Honda.
Well, it's good for bragging rights in Hyundai as well, because Norby's sitting there, or he was sitting there fourth in the championship. It's not going to do his the team, you know, focus on where they want to back as they're going into the business end of the season.
Well, jumped Björk up to second in the standings, a position that Norby's in has been in a lot, never first at the end of the season.
Go, go, go!